Okay, we're good?
Wait a minute, one more thing.
So who is on? Just Susan?
Right now, it's just Susie here.
Okay. I think Jimmy Carter was a no. If I saw an email that I think he was traveling. I know Roy Carter emailed yesterday, he's a no. And Paul is on his way to Memphis, so he said he would sign on from the road with another couple in the car. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. No. It's not, the world, the solar system will not break apart. We'll be okay. Hello, Susan, how are you doing?
You're
muted.
on mute, Susan.
I'm got it now. No, I'm good. I'm good. I wasn't sure whether I could control my own mute button or Glenn had his finger on the pulse there. I'm here and I think I'm good. I'm getting better. So
I think Jason's gonna be a little late, and then, can you see the group? Bill's here, Jessica's here, I'm here, Glenn and Don
Yeah.
are here, so.
it's a top-down view from my vantage point, but it's all good.
Do we look good? Do we look?
The top down?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, Bill.
We'll
Yes.
call it the convertible view. The convertible view is what we're gonna call it. Okay, Paul is traveling on his way to Memphis. I think it's his, God, it might be his 50th wedding. I mean, it's a big wedding anniversary, I think. It's up there. And so we'll, agenda topic number 1 is Jason. We'll defer to him on the recreation plan. Agenda item 2 was, do we proceed with presenting to the supervisors the county recreational coordinator position at the October meeting?
As far as the position concerned,
Yeah, like the recommendation to you all, do we do it? I
I
don't,
got you.
I don't know that, it seems premature to me.
Yeah, I think, I don't think it's a huge rush on that. I think we could wait if need be, so.
Can you give me a date just so I can get it on my Gantt chart, Don, so we're not,
Well, the board is gonna meet again. Their November and December meetings are accelerated for the holidays, so they meet on November 17th and December 15th. So that would be your two choices for 2022.
okay, so let's put it for December now. Susan, do you have any opinion on that one? This is the recreational coordinator position.
My opinion is, it feels early to me. It feels like we need kind of and maybe we have it, but a kind of a programmatic white paper on, this is exactly what this person's going to do. These are the programs that they're going to set in place. It feels to me like we're putting a person in place in advance of a plan. That's what it feels like to me.
Agreed.
But I may be out of the loop on the details.
Yeah, what I would like to see, Jeff, and Don, you can chime in. I would like to see the assistant county administrator position done before we move to this, because this person is going to report to the assistant county administrator. So I would like to see that part of it completed before we do the Parks and Rec part of it, in which we close to doing that,
Yeah,
completing that, because this person is going to report to, and then the assistant county administrator can have some input in the duties, responsibilities, and things like that.
yeah, I would agree. Jessica, are you?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially if they're gonna report to them.
I don't know if it's on the agenda, but where are we on that? When we left the last meeting, we were having interviews the next week. Where does that stand?
Yeah, we interviewed 7 folks. We settled on a top candidate, and we're currently in negotiations with that top candidate.
Oh, wonderful.
Probably not a start until 2023.
Okay, so we're still comfortable with the recreation person being after that?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And Jessica, congratulations on your
Yeah.
yeah.
And,
Always feels good to get that interim tag off,
yeah,
or that active tag.
So January, the assistant would.
It's going to be 2023. Well, I don't know exactly what month yet, but the
Okay.
board is fully aware of this, and
Yeah, we got
yeah.
some negotiations.
we're
going
good to
on.
go? Okay, so don't ask, don't tell, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, gotcha. Understood. Okay, so we all concur that we will defer that till after the county administrator and sequence it that way. Good to go. Okay. A third item is the communications committee. What's the status of the website development letter going out to each household?
Well, I just want to congratulate Glenn Rowe. He is now the top of my personal hero list. It's true, Don, give him some more money or extra cookie this week. It's good. I got my first draft to Glenn. He said, I probably can't get it right to the top of the plate because I've got other stuff on my agenda and I get it. But lo and behold, this morning, the draft is there. So, and my goal for it was to be able just to take a look at format and then we can tweak content as we go. Glenn, do you want me to screen share it? I can, or if it's easier to do it from there.
It's probably better, it's probably easier for you to screen share, because I'm into something else right now, but, if you.
Okay, well, I have participant screen sharing disabled, it says. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
All right, give me a
So
second.
you might have to free me up there.
Yeah.
So when you, Susan, you say it's there, you mean it's on that landing page?
The landing page exists.
Okay, good,
And when I show it to you, it'll make more sense, I think.
great.
In just a moment. Glenn, you just tell me when when I'm ready.
Try it now.
Okay. Yep, good. Good to go. Hold on a second. Let me see what I can do here. Let me move. Okay, so here's the main page of the county website, and under boards and commissions, and you'll see Lancaster 2035. So this is going to be the landing page that if when folks want more information. And so the format is textual, if you will. But we start with what exactly is this stuff? Again, people don't like to read a whole lot anymore. So I've got some pretty reduced down stuff. All being sourced from our original master presentation. So I'm not going to read this to you, but you can take a look at it. It's live to the public right now, so you can take a look at it. We can adjust both content and format. So we've got what do we envision? Here's why it matters. What are the solutions? We've got strategies around our 6-7 teams. Here, we'll start to fill in presentations as we have them. So an example, under recreation, under here, we'll come back and put in Jason's great presentation here. As the individual teams have more information that can be linked here, my thought is that they would be linked all in here. So presentations, et cetera, are big takeaways. And then we got our who to contact here. So Glenn, thank you times 20 for doing this in the wee hours of yesterday and whenever they have it ready, because
It's very much.
that was amazing.
Yeah, it's
I
very much,
appreciate it.
it's very much a quick and dirty thing, because I was working basically 4:30 yesterday afternoon, just trying to put something, just trying to get a template together, so maybe you all would have something to look at this morning. And there, there's plenty of leeway as far as any tweaks to any of the information. And there was one section that I kind of left out because I wanted to ask you a question about how to set that up, and that had to do with those strategies, towards the end where we linking.
Yeah, that's
some of the
fine.
documents.
Yeah, we'll work to that.
So we'll
But,
talk about that later.
I think for the committee's purposes, Jeff, I would be looking for kind of some immediate feedback from everybody. Maybe not today, send it to me in an email so that I can summarize the tweaks and get those back to Glenn, and he and I can collaborate on how that will look. But I mean, here's effectively the format. If it's going to be a one-pager theoretically, and then you'll click on a link like this one here, and you'll go directly to that presentation where you kind of read on your own. And then we would change this text, as the circumstances needed. But if anybody has feedback or something you like, something you think sucks, just shoot an email and we can make those adjustments and time it out with when we want the letter to go.
Susan, can we send you things, excuse my voice, can we send you things now, like maybe an update on the schools, the renovation and the,
Yeah, all
so
of
we can get
that
some of it on
should
there?
just come whenever you have it. It needs to be, and it may be in this format already, it needs to be in a PDF format. It needs to be, has enough digital clarity so that when people open it, it's not pixelated. So you should probably, save stuff as a high quality file, so that, when folks open it, it looks fine. But yeah, the intent would be, under these major strategies, we would start to blow out, here are the activities that are happening, either as a link, or maybe we've got presentations down here as links. And if there's, if we want to say broadband is now coming to 2/3 of the county by, the end of the year, if there's anything like that we can add, then we've got a place for it. But yeah, Jessica, send whatever you have.
okay.
I'm not going to modify it, just know that it has to be ready to put up and link, and we'll find a place for it.
Okay.
Susan, under who to contact, did you give it any thought to putting a phone number or email or something there, so a person
Well,
don't have to
these-
go to another way?
Yeah, these individuals, if you click on this, you're going to automatically go to an email. You're going to go to a place to open up an email.
Okay.
In this case, it opens up in my own email.
Okay.
My own what I've already got. But so the emails are there. I think it's a question if everybody who is a contact wants a phone number out there.
Susan,
And we can decide that
and I
if we think that that's,
Susan, I think this is a
pertinent.
correction from an earlier draft. I think Paul is the business-friendly environment person, not myself.
it is, okay,
Yep.
all right,
But
all right, we'll make that change.
it looks good. So I think, from a date definite on this, could we commit maybe everyone by the end of the week to get any feedback, and and then that would give us the date for when we want to target a mailing. Is that possible?
I will say, Jeff, just one thing that, we have a great presentation that Jason put together, but that's and then what Jessica will send forward, but that's the only other content we have from the subcommittees. So if there is content out there that we need, that somebody's got that we don't have, we need that. Otherwise, it's just going to go as it is, if that makes sense.
If I remember correctly, our summary letter was very generic in nature. Just to sort of give, here's what we're doing in general, here's our overall plan.
Right.
My personal opinion is I don't think we need to feel constrained about getting a lot of that supporting material, because
Okay.
that's going to be changing every month anyway.
It is, yep,
But
that is true.
I think it's more important we get that letter out to the county residents. My gut is there will be a select few that follow that link all the way through to read
Right.
this. But they will be the kind that dig too, so.
Correct.
Susan?
Yes.
When I was doing all that work yesterday afternoon, I didn't really have a way to sandbox this part of the site. I went ahead and put it live on the website. Is that okay for now?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think anybody's going to be hunting for it.
Okay,
I don't think that's a problem.
okay.
It's like a hidden treasure right now, Glenn.
That's most government websites, right?
Yeah. So Susan, you think it's fair that, we just proof what's on the site by the end of the week? And if we have any
Yeah.
feedback, get it to you and then.
Yeah, if
target
you
that.
see any, exactly. This is just one of those, it should take you, 5 solid minutes,
Right.
Just take a look at it. Does it read well? Have somebody who doesn't know anything about it take a look at it. Somebody who's coming in for the first time, who's not aware of the content.
Yeah.
And just see if it, does it feel right? Does it need enough? Does it need more? Do we want to put some photographs on there to just kind of sex it up a little bit? Does it read quickly? Is it easy to read? Any of those kind of general things are great.
And as it relates to our mailer, that's all good to go, isn't it? Is that printed?
Yes.
Everything addressed, all that stuff?
Are you asking me? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just don't know the status of the mailer, like if
I
we
sent
said.
it to Don. Don said he had the capabilities to do the printing, mailing, collating,
Yeah.
yada, yada.
All I need to know is somebody, the committee to say, yes, push the button, let's go.
Okay.
And we can do it.
Okay,
I mean, I don't know if we need to make any more changes to the letter or what, but all I need is to go ahead and we'll make it happen.
Susan, do you have thoughts? I mean, we don't need to proof the letter again, do we? We're good to
No,
go.
we don't need to proof it again. I'll take one more look at it and see if there's something on there that seems dated in
Yeah.
terms of the language of it. You know, like past tense when it should be future tense, something like that. I'll take a look at that, but substantively, no, we all looked at it and said, yeah, we were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would it be fair, like say by the end of next week or the week after, that we will commit to getting to you, Don, to drop that mailing? Is that fair? Susan, is that fair? Is that too fast?
Yeah, I mean, I think by the first part of next week, if I get everything, if Monday morning I look at any changes that I've gotten through the balance of the week
Yep.
and go, okay, great, Glenn and I have made all the changes that need to be made, then it's a matter of just telling Don, you're good to go
Yeah.
at that point.
Sounds like a plan. Very good.
Don, the one thing I would suggest is, I know I think we're on the exact same schedule for real estate, and personal property billings. We just don't want to get hung up in that mailing cycle where people are seeing, it's one more thing that comes
Yeah.
that might not get any attention.
They'll think it's a bill and throw it in the trash, you know?
Exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
So I think if we got it done, here in the next week and a half,
yeah.
Okay,
I'm not expecting major changes from you guys on the web side of things. Well, and if we are, we'll deal with them. I mean, that's fine. So I think we should be good to go by the middle to end of next week.
excellent. Moving on to the next agenda item, unless anyone has anything else there, is housing. It says, what's the status of any workforce housing projects inclusive of apartments? Any progress on another building at Mercer Place? Status of the feasibility grant with the Commonwealth for Good Luck Road property? And I know nothing about any of that. I'm 0 for 3 on that.
I can speak a little bit as far as the grant goes. Jimmy and I have registered on the site, the Department of Housing and Community Development site to fill out the grant. And we've had some issues with the password and that was generated for us, but we're working on that. And Jimmy's, I'm going to get him in, and then Jimmy's going to handle the actual application, and so we'll get that done. What were the other topics? I don't know. I'm not aware of any change in the status at Mercer Place.
I don't either.
I think they were studying that.
What's that?
I think Bay Aging was studying it with
Yeah.
the last update, basically.
So we'll just defer until next
Yeah,
month.
I
when Jim
have,
has a report.
I have been told that there's possibility of 4 duplexes being built close to Irvington that would be for rent. So that's, that could be 8 units.
I had an interesting conversation with a member of the Chesterfield Board of Supervisors who's potentially looking at buying Windmill Point Marina and developing some of that out. What's that? Buying Windmill Point Marina and building some of that out, and some of that, actually building some of those condos. Not that would be workforce or affordable housing,
Yeah.
but it would be additional revenue or potentially housing for at least some folks in the tourist industry
Yeah.
and revitalizing that area further, so. that's-
Jessica,
that-
did all your new teachers find places?
They did. We typically rely a lot on Mercer Place, and some of those spots were filled this year because we were later hiring with people from across the river. Sorry. So they did end up finding places.
Okay.
Would like to get more back in Mercer Place, though.
Okay. And then, know nothing about any new apartments. Susan, nothing from the town perspective, like wasn't there something going behind Tractor Supply or something at one point, is that?
Yeah, that hasn't materialized as yet, but we had another inquiry this week about somebody who wants to build townhomes within the town limits. So we are encouraging them to move forward with that as aggressively as they want to move.
Okay,
It's somebody who already owns property here and, so, every time I see somebody that says they want to build a townhome, I say yes. So we'll see. None of that, there's still this gap between what is workforce affordable versus what is market. That's still a problem.
and it's a national problem,
Mhm.
nothing unique to us. So now, is there anything else on housing? We'll have to probably defer most of that report until next month when Jimmy's here. Education, Jessica, what do you have going on there?
Paul has on here about how we're going to include introducing the trades at middle and high school. And we are going to develop a plan. We're just having conversations on it, on how to introduce kids to different pathways, post-secondary pathways earlier on. We're doing it, but we're doing it in 8th and 9th and 10th grade, and that's too late. So we're developing a plan to introduce it in 6th, 7th grade. And through that process, get internships up and running for our kids with local businesses. And so we want our kids to end 8th grade with a 4-year high school plan instead of getting to 9th grade and trying to figure out what programs are available. So hopefully all of the introduction to the trades, college, all of that will happen much, much earlier. We're doing some of that through our Gear Up program now, but it's still too late. We need to do it much earlier. So that's going to be a big focus for us. And hopefully that'll help get some kids out working here in our community and maybe staying here as well, instead of moving away. And then also tying into our schools. Of course, we have so much exciting stuff right now. We've got the renovation going on with the middle school, and that's all on track. And, it's kind of half torn down and half looks really nice. So going to continue with that. And then we're in the beginning stages of the designing for the new middle school, high school. So exciting. So all of that's kind of, moving forward. So, and it's been a good start to our school year too. So, but I would love to get some of the pictures and the timelines on that website for if that's, to target people who are potentially looking at moving here.
Mhm.
That I would think that would be something they would want to see if they're a family with kids. So we need to get some of it on there.
Are they on your website? Are those pictures and stuff on y'all's website?
Yeah, we're actually working on a really nice, like a link so that as, now that we've kind of moved to the next step on the new schools, just a constant, touch in or check in,
Have y'all thought about like a webcam or some
Yeah.
thing you could
well,
post and you could go onto it and look at it in real time at any point?
Yeah, we were talking about taking pictures from different angles and then just constantly updating those pictures. Just so anytime anybody wants to look at it, they can go on there and see it. So that will link to there. But for now, we can at least get some pictures on there, something for people to see. So.
Great. Question, Jessica, as far as the plan for, internships, is that something you think would be finished by the spring, like before summer, or going into summer, that
We will-
internships could be granted?
We will probably be delving in with very small numbers
Yeah,
in the spring, summertime.
okay,
So we're going to start small so we do it right. And then once we get all the procedures and processes in place, then expand.
okay. Include us in your
We
beta
will.
group.
I have you down on the list,
We want to be part of the beta group.
definitely.
It's in our strategic plan too, so.
We're also hoping, with the Early Childhood Center, that we can start a Teachers for Tomorrow program and get our high schoolers into that Early Childhood Center to see if they like the education field,
Mhm.
and then help them go into it from there. But they can actually get some experience in high school. So that'll all be tied into that too.
Excellent. Anything else on education? Any questions, Jessica? Broadband, this is not the part of the agenda where we talk about the 87 houses that won't have it.
No, we're going to stop talking about those
We have
84.
thousands and thousands of people.
No, everything is still on track. No real, no other update.
So our end of 2023 is our,
December of
That's our simple
2023.
message.
I think in January or February, you're going to see All Points Broadband and their subcontractors move in and start the last mile, just like you saw Dominion and their subcontractors put in the middle mile on their poles this year. I think at the beginning of 2023, it's going to ramp up, and you're going to really see the people out there.
So is what they could, basically considering the last mile looks like to me, is just from the pole to the house,
Yeah.
essentially?
Yeah.
The middle mile is not just to the substation, but all the way out through the,
Middle mile is all along Dominion stringing the fiber on their
'cause
poles.
I've seen Dominion
Yeah.
stringing this fiber pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And it seems to me it's gonna, like the last mile is really just from wherever the pole is to the person's house.
That's right. That's exactly
Okay.
right. Yep.
Hey, it's exciting though. When I drove out our
I'm
road
s-
and saw them, those big rolls, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm super excited, because they're in my
Yeah.
neighborhood, which means they're gonna expand into Breeze Line's territory at the same time.
Yeah, it's I talked to someone from Loudoun County a couple weeks ago, and they said that the Northern Neck and Lancaster County was further ahead in expanding broadband than they were in their outer reaches of their county.
get out.
So, everything is still on track, so
Good.
that's.
Nice, simple message. Nice report. Susan, that's probably one that is part of our ongoing communication. We just simply keep putting that out. Repeated repetition of a simple message, I think, would be helpful.
Is there, I know I asked this, is there any hope we can get a map? That would be great on the website that just says, even if it's like, here are the target areas, or middle mile is completed in these zones.
Yeah.
A visual of that would go a long way.
Broadband Authority is working on that. The problem has always been getting the information from All Points Broadband. As soon as they get, I know VDOT calls it like a 2-week outlook. As soon as they get a heads up on what All Points, what their next areas are, they'll work on that. So they're aware of it and they know it's needed, but the problem is getting the information from All Points.
Yeah, but Don, at the end of the day, we know the county's going to be done, right? We think by early 23 or by 23,
No,
so.
by the end of 2023.
Into 23 rather, but surely,
Yeah.
I find this, I find it difficult to believe that we can't at least project it somehow, that if we're only waiting 2 weeks out, we won't know what's done until we get to the end of 23, and we'll go, oh yeah, it's done now.
No, I just used that 2-week outlook. That's a VDOT reference. This would be
Oh, okay.
more, this would be more like a 3-month outlook, I think, from All Points. But I'll give you the CEO's contact information from All Points and let you talk to him. So. See if you
Don?
see-
That's not a good answer. That's not a very good answer. So I'm just going to say that we won't have a picture on the website that tells our citizens when we're going to have broadband. That's okay with me.
We got a broadband.
I ain't got time to chase him. I ain't got time to chase the CEO.
I know.
Chasing Jeff is the best CEO I can chase. I ain't got time for anybody else.
We've got a broadband authority meeting tomorrow afternoon. I'll bring up your concern and see if we can get a map out there sooner than later.
Yeah, I just think it's not that difficult of an ask to get, even to make a projection, and I'm talking about from the Broadband Authority. I don't think that's a difficult task. It doesn't have to be precise. It has to be close enough,
The CEO.
See what you can do.
The
Work your magic.
The CEO of All Points also has a law degree, so he has that background as well. So he's.
Yeah, that's always helpful. Yeah.
They kind of
And
hold
Don,
that, they holding that
remind him that we
information
are all
tight.
gun carrying down here. That'll help him. That'll motivate him.
Say that again, what?
So remind him we are gun carrying down here. Maybe that will be motivating.
Okay, we're
Sanctuary
ready to
County.
move on past broadband. Okay, the next is our Jobs Committee. We keep on it the Business Friendly and Job Creation Committee. Had we reported on we reported on the initial meeting with Eric Barna and the contractors at the last meeting, correct?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had another meeting yesterday.
Okay, fill us in.
Paul and Eric and I met yesterday and talked about, we had discussed, we heard all the input. There were a lot of people that showed up at that meeting. I was really surprised, electricians, plumbers, contractors. We had heard from them what they need. So we were talking about, again, these people were all doing the same things in different ways, so kind of making that connection. So to start with, we are going to meet with them again on November 7th and invite the technical center in, because the technical center is doing the apprenticeships. We need to bridge the communication so they know who to contact and how to begin that process if they want somebody to come work for them from the tech center. So that's gonna be the main purpose of that meeting. And then we're also gonna talk about career studies certificates for year after graduation, if they want a skill specific, but not, a long-term commitment for classes. And we're gonna share with them what the schools are doing, like I just shared with you, starting earlier to get kids interested in not just college, but different trades too and career fields. Then hopefully from there, once we develop our plan and RCC moves a little further along, we can have connections and maybe a hub of where they can put in if they need someone to work and if we have someone available. So that communication center, but that would be down the road. Right now, it's getting them connected with the technical center so they know who to contact if they'd like to have someone come either do an apprenticeship with them or work with them for experience, exploratory.
So Jessica, where is that, I know Eric was gonna pursue, because there are other community colleges using that 1+1 program.
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about that. The 1+1 program is students take dual enrollment courses. They take their gen ed dual enrollment courses their senior year. So it's a smaller amount. Typically our kids will take dual enrollment in 11th and 12th grade. They'll take their gen ed classes their senior year, and then they'll go out and do a year of skill-specific courses so that they can earn that associate's degree for whichever area they want to work in. But they only offer certain areas. So we were gonna do a type of survey to get some interest to see. He said they've started programs before. People say they want it, and then no one's really, signs up to do it. So we need to do an interest inventory to see which ones they would offer. But that's what the 1+1 is. It's 1 year of dual enrollment gen ed classes senior year, and then 1 year through RCC of skill-specific courses to prep and prepare them. I think West Point's doing it now. We kind of need to gauge where the need is before we could do something like that. We were talking about possibly having more discussions and kind of being ready for next year to implement that. We've got the dual enrollment courses. We have an abundance of dual enrollment courses that we offer, so that's not a problem.
But not necessarily in the trades, right? Or not?
Well, some of them are. Some of the programs at the technical center are dual enrolled courses. I think they're culinary and nurses, nurses aid, and engineering, I think, are dually enrolled, so.
So on that second year out, I was sort of vague when Eric presented that first night. Is that second year, do they go for the skill-specific courses? Do they go to the VOTEC Center, or do they work with a local business?
They go to RCC.
Okay.
And
so
hopefully
RCC runs that.
Correct, and hopefully during that time, they could maybe be working with someone while they're gaining their degree.
Okay. So the thought is they would overlay a job with that year one skill-specific training.
And it pretty much, it opens up another path. So right now, we have, we have the dual enrollment path. You get your associate's degree when you graduate. We have, the technical center. We have Chesapeake Bay Governor's School, we have these pathways. This would be for a kid who maybe they get to their senior year and think, well, I want to do this, but I didn't know this 2 years ago. So it opens up another pathway for a child to go on to a specific career or trade.
Okay. And,
So-
and the reason I keep asking timeline questions is I'm trying to put this Gantt chart together. Like what, the next would be the survey. Would you expect the survey to go out before the end of the year? Or?
The survey is gonna go out, yes, before the end of the year. November 7th, we'll have another meeting with that group that we met with at RCC in Kilmarnock a few weeks ago. And then we would hope by the beginning of next year, we have internships up and running, and we've bridged that gap between technical center apprenticeships and, well, they don't technically do apprenticeships, but internships or work experience with our local tradesmen.
Jessica, one of the problems in the past has been the stigma, you know, of going up to the, have y'all addressed that? Because you send a survey out and, you know, somebody might feel they don't want to travel up there because it doesn't look like they, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this is my personal opinion. I feel like that has changed a lot. The technical center itself has worked really hard on changing their image. Their programs that are in there now, they've renamed the school. It's now Northern Neck Technical Center and STEM Academy. I think they've been working really hard on that image. In our schools, we're still reminding people not to say VOTEC, just call it Northern Neck Technical Center, some things like that. But I feel like that is in the past, kind of. I really do. There's probably some people who still think of it like that, but no, honestly, their programs are amazing. I mean,
Oh, yeah, and I think it's just, I don't know, the perception that, you know, people
I think
had and
that's
carried
changed.
over and, you know.
Yeah, I think that's kind of changed, at least with the kids.
Okay.
You know, yeah, and they've done a lot of that work on their own.
I would
That's-
continue to kind of suggest along that path, kind of what they do when they bring college kids back in to talk about the college experience. They find successful
Absolutely.
trade people that have gone through their trade school and gone on to take successful trade careers and come back and talk about that success or the jobs that they have and the money they're making and
I
the
think that
lack
would
of
go a
debt
long
they
ways.
have and
Yeah.
We'll
all
see.
the pro benefits to those types of
We need to do
things.
more of
for-
that in the schools. So like they're doing that at the technical center because they have those specific trades. And we have our career days and we have all these things in place, but we probably need to offer some more opportunities to see someone on the job site or, you know, to get that, to really explore those careers outside of just hearing about it in the classroom or looking at it on the website. So, and that would come along those lines too.
I think too, it's a parental education too, for the parents of that student to know, you know, okay, they going there to get a good trade, a good skill, make sure the parents understand.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of parents has got college focused and, you know, from years past, that's what they think, okay, you gotta go to college, and they start that when they're 3 years old, you gotta go to college, and,
Yeah,
and,
it's ingrained into the system.
Right.
yeah.
Well, we've tried really hard to not focus on just college, focus on a post-secondary path. So we've got some work to do, but that's our focus.
It takes time to change culture and ways of thinking.
Yeah. And you know, you can do both now. You can go to the technical center and you can get dual enrollment classes, and then you can go to college and have all, I mean, it's amazing. The opportunities are amazing. The problem is our kids and parents don't always know what they are or know what they are in time. So we need to do a better job of making sure everybody knows all the opportunities that are available to them.
If nothing else, these kids need to be able to learn to take care of their homes and all the stuff that
Right.
they would do in their basic homes in the future is beneficial in that regard.
Yeah, yeah.
And just
So-
go back to the parents knowing, I guess that's the premise of your 8th grade plan. That
Mhm.
you're looking at the 4-year plan in 8th grade, so everyone's apprised at what the glide path looks like.
Right, and they can have conversations about it at an earlier age when they can actually plan instead of just having to here's where I am, what am I gonna do now? So, and that's not just us, that's everywhere. I mean, this is a shift in education. We just wanna stay up on top of it and offer our kids more, so, yeah.
That sounds great. So, I mean, you said beginning of next year, you would hope to have at least a modest
Yes.
internship program starting.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yep.
I talked to, I think, we've said, my son works for the Department of Housing and Community Development in Richmond, and he goes around the state, and he and his boss have been, they've been to Buena Vista and Galax and some other stuff, but one of the things they've stumbled across that's not in their mission, which is consistent with what I said with that banker friend of mine from Alta Vista, and I just got my son to send me the thing. There's a Virginia Technical Institute in Alta Vista that does nothing but produce trades. And he told me this past weekend. I find this hard to believe. They are turning out more tradespeople than they can place. So it's like a distribution problem. You go like, so they have electricians, plumbers, all that stuff coming out of there that can't find jobs in that area. And I'm like, wow, there's a solution to that somewhere. I'm not sure what it is. So he said they're just preliminary looking at, can they do something to incent communities for like, provide first month's rent, or, businesses to provide tool sets to people that roll out of there if there's a 1-year commitment or something like
Right.
that. I don't know, but more to follow on that. But I said, that's probably the only place in the whole United States that has excess tradespeople.
Yeah.
A lot going on there, Jessica. Anything else from any of the other committee members on that? 1+1. Okay, we already talked about the status of the Assistant County Administrator. So you all got the ball on that, and it's early 2023 is what we're hoping, or sometime in 2023, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know the answer to this, but I know Paul had mentioned several months ago that the committee heads would, sort of what Jason did for his committee, come up with his objectives and goal writing, which he did in fine fashion with that document. I don't know the status of any other of the committees doing that. Do we know? I think that's the next step that has to happen before we can get a plan together to even present to the board.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did share the document templates that I used out through the email.
You
So
did.
people can grab those and start playing around with them.
Perfect.
I'm happy to, if people send me stuff, to mock up some stuff as well.
Hold on, I've made a preliminary stab at, well, I did yours actually, Jason, because you had it laid out, but, I have put in, your listing of stuff into like a preliminary Gantt chart, like where everything's slated. Some of yours is like naturally so, but like the Good Luck Road property, it's like 2027,
Yeah,
right? So it's pretty far out. So I'm just putting those by year. But I need something similar. I think Susan, it'd be good communication tool, because we can see how each of the committees' different tasks are overlaying each other. And it's a good accountability document. We can see what's done, what's running behind, where there's slippage in the schedule. Not that it's gonna drive it, but at least we'd be aware of it. So I'll just send the draft of what I have out to this, but it's sort of like, same thing Susan feels about the website. We don't have a lot to populate it right now, but we just could keep building it with each successive meeting, I would say. I think it should be an agenda item. In other words, I think when we come to this meeting, we should say, here's what we're supposed to have going on right now. Are we doing it? Is it going on? And Paul said, I look forward to hearing about the updates. That's how he finished it. Should we call them? Hey, Paul, we're at 10:50. We're finished with the 10 o'clock meeting. I don't have anything else unless you all do.
did y'all ever, cover recreation before I got here? or-
Oh,
No,
no, I'm sorry,
no.
you were the top of the item. Well, let me go back to what my chart says you have going on here, Jason,
Well, one of the.
and see
one
if
of the
it's
things-
remotely
I don't know whether you
close.
gonna mention it or not, the grant we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did successfully, were awarded an Outdoor Federation grant of $150,000 for the Carter Cove site. So that's, I don't know when that funding will become available.
Yeah, I don't know right offhand, the official, I have not seen the official letter yet, but,
Do we have any
I looked
update
for
from
the
our
official
architect?
last night, because I saw assistant last night.
yeah, it's official. I mean,
Official, yes.
we've been awarded the $150,000 from the Virginia Outdoors Foundation.
Awesome.
But I'm not sure exactly when that money will be available. I've got my environmental codes compliance officer working on a FEMA BRIC grant, Building Resilient Infrastructure Communities, and that's due tomorrow, the 13th. She has put a tremendous amount of time in that. She's had some success at her prior job in Henrico, so,
I
maybe,
think
maybe we could be,
the folks at the Northern Egg District Planning also suggested that would be a good one to apply for.
yeah, so
Which one was that, Don? I'm sorry.
It's a FEMA BRIC, B-R-I-C, grant. And, I mean, she's been working on this for about 2 weeks. It was a pre-application due. She sent that in, and they immediately responded back to submit the full application. So, hopefully we'll hear some good things about that.
What is
That's
that?
that's actually for the Windmill Point site,
Windmill Point, okay.
That's basically building resilience.
yes.
And a good thing about that too, and that Northern Nick District plan that we did together about resilience, remember that? That was the college folks, and they did some kind of resilience study
Yeah.
or plan to put together, and Windmill
Yeah.
Point was pinged in that as
Yeah.
as a potential site for this type of restoration, so that should
Yeah.
go along to helping.
Yeah, I think
Push
that was
that
the
grant.
raft
Yes, that's
initiative.
it.
Yeah.
So Jason, for the, like, on your initial plan, we had Windmill Point for, when it said fall of '22, I put October, November, we had bay design update, the easements and agreements have been finalized, we have joint permit with the Army Corps and VMRC done, so we're teeing ourselves up for like December, January to get Phase 1 shoreline bids. We still on
I
track
think
for all
we're
that?
kind of on track for
Yeah.
that. We're still, I
Okay.
mean, there's one opposition comment to the permit, but I think that'll be worked through. I don't think that's
Excellent.
a stopper at this point.
But there are 14 in favor as of last
Yeah, I
night.
drummed up some more favorable, I rallied the troops yesterday down there and told them to go make some comments, so it was
Awesome.
successful in rallying.
Yeah.
So now we have 14 in favor.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's out to public comment. We're under contract with Bay Design Group for engineering services as needed, Guernsey Tingle for architectural services as needed. We've met on site with both of those at all of their planned sites, and
Where are we with them giving any preliminary stuff?
I haven't seen any as of yet, but it's, I'll,
'Cause I think we
I'm going
gave
to touch
them
base with both of them
Sort of a
today.
2-week deadline, I think, when we had that meeting, or a 3-week deadline to come up with some preliminary stuff. Was that?
Yeah, I think it was 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, I'm going to touch base with both of them today. I'll get an
Okay.
update.
Other than that, I don't really have necessarily any further updates on the projects. I think they're all moving ahead on the timeline that's presented.
So like the Carter's Cove, we had initial master plan for this fall, is that on track?
I mean,
Maybe by the end of the year, maybe.
it may be a little bit
Yeah.
later, but
I had November, December,
that's one of the sites that they're currently working on.
Yeah.
perfect.
I think Windmill Point, Carter's Cove, and the Taylor's
Taylor's
Creek are the
Creek.
three that are like rapidly in the queue to move forward
Yeah.
and be funded kind of in this grant, this money that we borrowed right now.
One of the things we might want to suggest, and I know when I was talking to, when we met that day, I was saying all of them, kind of working on them together, but if you talk to them, if they got one ready, there's no use, holding it, just send it to us.
Yeah, no,
Because I know, I was kind of stressing that we was working on them simultaneous, but they could be further ahead on Carter's Cove than,
yeah.
so.
And I had on the, if I read your document correctly, Jason, complete and open facility for Thomas Landing, like now?
Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, we
We-
could be doing, that could be open or could have been open 6 months ago, but we can't get anybody to do the work.
Yeah, we actually went out to bid twice for the pier rebuild and extension. We got no bids. We're actually currently out to bid again for the third time. I'm told we're gonna have at least one. I've gotten 2 emails from contractors who are interested in the bid documents, so hopefully we'll have something to
If
pick
you
from
know
this time.
anybody who likes to build and,
Yeah, so,
and needs to make some money, this would be a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the construction period? We should push the opening of that to the spring?
well, in the RFP, it said opening June 1 of '23.
Gotcha.
So the construction period would be prior to that.
You know, we have to, at this point, if we're lucky, get it done over the winter and be
Yeah.
ready in the spring.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, in a perfect world, basically, these 3 sites are, including maybe that 4th one, would be ready or close to ready by summer
Yeah.
of '23.
23,
Perfect
yeah.
world.
That's where we're shooting for.
Yeah.
And then, Susan, this is more for you, for the communication committee. I know we had some discussion about, from a communication perspective, not getting out over our skis on the Tri-Way Trail. You know, looking through Jason's timeline on that, you know, the Phase 1 RFP, we have that in the spring, and then award Phase 1 and begin construction in summer of next year for it to be, open Phase 1 would be like May of 2024, is the way it's slated. So, you know, as far as all the questions, when's the Tri-Way Trail gonna open? It'd be pretty much, you know, whatever, 16, 17 months from now, till even Phase 1's open. So I don't know if we wanna, I'm just.
I mean, that's, was sort of my tentative timeline. I don't know, Jimmy would have to clarify whether those dates are realistic or where
Yeah.
we are in the queue of applying for those grants. And then, I know there's some debate on whether we need to wait to apply, get these grants, or whether we can go ahead and start on some of it using our own money,
Yeah,
and if that would foul up getting extra money later on. I think that was the discussion that was going on.
okay,
He's actually received some grant money to date. I want to say it's like 120,000 for
I
the
think we
Tri-Way
got a
Trail.
planning grant.
Yeah, and the easement document, at least for property that Jimmy Carter owns, the easement to the county for the actual trail is, the draft is actually being worked on by his attorney and the county attorney right now. So I think that timeline works.
okay.
If anything, it may actually accelerate some, but I think that timeline works.
I think, I mean, it's great. The only reason I say is because people ask, when's that gonna open?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah, Jimmy is actually in Abingdon, I think, this week, looking at the trail down there, and I can't remember the name of it, but he's picking their brains, on that trail.
Flip,
So,
quick question on easements. Or is Jim working on the easement stuff down at Windmill Point too, or?
well, the first step is Bay Design has to create the survey,
Okay.
and that's being worked on.
Okay. Other than that, I don't really have any additional information to report on recreation at this time.
Okay, that's great. A lot going on. I think that was all. Thank you for bringing me back. Anything else that we need to cover today?
I guess, Don, y'all did have the meeting on the Taylor's Creek site about the road development and the timelines with the tides in. Could you-
Yes.
I wasn't able to join that meeting, but could you briefly speak on that before we close out?
Yeah, we just had a brief meeting last Thursday, I believe it was, with the Tides representatives, Bay Design, and myself. They're looking at about a 90-day window before they start construction of the road that will service their workforce housing development there. That road will go all the way to the county property with a cul-de-sac. And we're trying to time it so that, we can do an RFP and, in a perfect world, the same contractor could extend right on and do the county road down to the park area. Looking at about a 90-day construction window for their part of the road. And I can't imagine that air construction window would be that long. But Bay Design was involved with that, and that's progressing as well. So I think the timeline works on that as well. So we would, Bay Design needs to, lay out the exact road, and then we'll have the parameters for the RFP to go out to bid with.
So Don, I know this is the tides, but would their intent to roll right into the construction of those facilities once the road's finished?
I think actually the construction of the actual duplex units may start prior to the road. I think they're looking at November timeframe
Wow, okay.
to